A very good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on Newsroom series. I'm Dominic Iwiwu. Today we will be focusing on the southeastern region. But before we get into that, let's take a look at the national headline. Days after his comments on the Tinubu administration and subsequent removal as Senate Chief Whip, Senator Ali Ndume has broken his silence, saying he stands by his words as he did not find anything wrong in what he said to warrant his removal as the Chief Whip. Speaking at his country home in Maiduguri, Senator Ndume also declined the chairmanship of the Senate Committee on Tourism, saying he lacks the experience and exposure to chair such a sensitive committee. On the charge to resign from the APC party, the senator said he is a founding member and will consult his people before making a decision on whether to leave the APC or not. Now we start with Ebonyi State, where the federal government has unveiled the proposed alignment for Ebonyi State 101-kilometer segment of the 477-kilometer that traverses Cross River Southeast North Central Abuja Superhighway, which is a legacy project of President Bola Tinubu. This legacy project was unveiled during a stakeholders engagement meeting held in Abakaliki, the Ebonyi State capital.
Officials of the Federal Ministry of Works, stakeholders from the Southeast, including National Assembly members, security chiefs, traditional rulers, are in Abakaliki, the Ebonyi State capital, for the official unveiling of the Renewed Hope Legacy Road infrastructure projects. The Trans-Sahara Trade Route is one of the projects, and the Minister of Works, Mr. David Umahi, unveils it on behalf of President Bola Tinubu as he emphasizes the economic importance of the road project to the Southeast region. Mr. Umahi, who once served as governor of Ebonyi State, knows only too well the infrastructure needs of the region, as he reiterates that there is no part of the Southeast that has not been touched when it comes to road infrastructure. Nevertheless, he calls for support from all stakeholders to actualize the Renewed Hope Road project, noting that the president places great emphasis on the infrastructural revolution of the country.
We call for PPP, that is patience, perseverance, and of course, partnership, so that together with Mr. President, we can push and say we should be bridged together.
Mr. Umahi also calls on the contractors handling the road projects to abide by the rules of engagement in order for them to deliver quality work.
From the timber sheds, I'm discussing with the governor that we follow the existing Abakaliki-Afiko route to make life easy for the project to be properly funded. And the governor wants the roads to pass through the back of the airport. We will give him whatever he wants. If we follow that corridor, it will enable us to rebuild the Abakaliki-Afiko road. Though contract is given starting from the Akanribiam Junction down to the timber shed, but funding is a huge issue. And I'm happy the governor told me that he's taking off 50 kilometers from Akanribiam and up to Onweke and 1 kilometer plus. And that is very wonderful, idea.
In his remarks, the state governor, Mr. Francis Nwefuru, says that the road project will enhance improved transportation of farm produce, as he gives assurance that his administration is committed to creating an enabling environment for investment and also to ensuring that infrastructure development meets the needs of Ebonyi people.
Effective infrastructural development and management requires a collective effort from governments, private sectors, and civil society. This administration is committed to creating an enabling environment for investment and ensuring that our infrastructure meets the needs of our dear citizens.
According to the federal government, the Renewed Hope Legacy Road infrastructure projects, when completed, will have historic national interconnectivity that will crisscross the major transportation routes of the country.
Over in Enugu State, Governor Peter Mba has signed an agreement with the African Medical City to build a $300 million medical city in the state. In a meeting with the governor, the executive director of the African Medical City, Mr. Ethelbert Wanebi, stated that the project is expected to solve the issue of medical tourism as well as grow the gross domestic product of the state.
When we think of Africa, when we think of Nigeria, when we think of Enugu State, we're not looking at Enugu State, that is that of yesterday. We're thinking of an Enugu State of the future. And when you think of a state of the future, then your mind has to definitely go far beyond what your mind can comprehend. So when people look at this project and think that, hey, this is humongous, this is big, it takes someone to think something or think of something outside the box. And Enugu State stands a chance to experience it firsthand. And there's no better state for us to institute this. There's no better home for AMC than the state of Enugu here. And that's why we are proudly here, and we are proud to make this place our home. And one thing, thank you. One assurance that I'm going to give you guys, definitely, we'll talk about the GDP of Enugu. I'm going to tell you guys now, this state will be the corridor of health in Africa.
For the state governor, the medical city is part of his administration's vision in the area of health and promise to support the investment.
Coming to Enugu with an investment size of over $300 million, when we heard of it, we knew it was something that must not escape us, and that we must do everything that is necessary to ensure that the investment is not only sitting here, but that we also recruit you as one of our testimonial givers, people who can market Enugu based on your experience in terms of how we've made it easy for you to come here and invest. How we have also shown transparency, how we have shown accountability, and how we have also shown integrity. So we are very conscious of our private-public sector partnership. And we understand that in order for us to keep surviving, we must be trustworthy.
It's all about health, water, sanitation, and hygiene matters for the people of Anambra State, southeast Nigeria, as the state government receives a delegation from the United Nations on a tour of some critical communities in the state. The UN Assistant Secretary General and Resident Humanitarian Coordinator in Nigeria, Mr. Mohammed Fall, pledges support for the erosion-devastated communities in Anambra, while the Minister of Health, Professor Mohammed Ali Pate, commends Governor Chukwuma Soludo for his commitment to the health of Anambra people through the state health insurance scheme.
The United Nations delegation, led by the Assistant Secretary General and Resident Humanitarian Coordinator in Nigeria, Mr. Mohammed Malik Fall, is received by the Chief of Staff to the Anambra State Governor. The visit is to assess the extent of government's interventions in areas of health, water, sanitation and welfare of citizens, and see how the United Nations will step up support, as there's been an existing MOU with the UNDP and the Anambra State Government. Achanja Market is the first port of call where the sanitary condition is commended, and the next is Okwoko Community, one of the highest populated areas in Anambra State with over 1 million residents. The impact of the state government has been greatly felt in the area. The delegation, aside from checking the running water, also visits the general hospital where immunization and the fight against malaria are priority activities. At Oko, the erosion is devastating and shocking to the United Nations envoy, as over 100 households have been displaced.
We have over 1,000 erosion sites in Anambra State, affecting over 160 communities out of 179 communities that we have in Anambra State. What we are doing in Anambra State right now is try to mitigate and see how we can solve most of the problems that we have. But we are also intentional in preventing others from happening.
To encourage our community to also support the government in planting trees, in doing their own bit putting encatchment pits in there whenever you build, put encatchment pits. And don't put tarmac or hard flooring all over the place so that water will seep into the ground.
4 buildings have collapsed. More than 100 people are homeless. We're just trying to see how we can place them where they can stay. We have reached out to NEMA for relief materials. It means foam, cements, and zinc to salary them and relocate to other places.
Responding, the UN envoy says the United Nations will be providing technical assistance and expertise that will aid in rebuilding the area.
I look at, for example, the erosion that we are facing here. It is something that I have not seen anywhere in my life. Wherever I have traveled, I have seen, some challenge or mix of natural hazard and some physical constraint coming from the nature. But something like this, I haven't seen it, and I think it will require a lot of big cooperation involving maybe scientists who study soil texture, environmentalists who look at also the natural hazard because of flood and non-control of the water coming from the rain could be also an explanation.
In another development, Governor Chukwuma Soludo receives the Minister of Health, Professor Mohammed Ali Pate, at the Governor's Lodge, Amobia. The minister commends Governor Soludo's efforts with the state health insurance scheme.
I know that there are lots of steps that people may not be aware of, but thanks to your leadership and the SHI, at least 400,000 people in Anambra have access to health insurance. That's a large number of that is coming from the share. So really appreciate that effort that you are putting in primary health care, in your hospitals, but also through the health insurance system that you have.
For Governor Chukwuma Soludo, human capital is a critical part of development and health is primary.
It is part of this effort when we launched the free antenatal free delivery for pregnant women, including CS operations and so on. That are recorded, we've had over 60,000 beneficiaries and with near zero mortality. If you go to a public hospital or health center, whatever, you have your facilities free of charge here. We can't build a prosperous state, a livable and prosperous homeland, that's our mission here, without having a healthy society.
The meeting affords the health minister room to highlight the president's 4 working areas in the health sector that include good governance towards enhancing stronger health institutions at all levels and the improvement of health outcomes of Nigerian citizens in terms of affordability and accessibility.
When we come back from this break, we'll give you an update on early warnings about flood in Anambra State and an update of the local government autonomy from Imo State. Stay with us. Welcome back. Anambra State government, in collaboration with the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has flagged off the 2024 early warning sensitization campaign on flooding in Awka, the Anambra State capital. During the event, the Director General of NEMA, Mrs. Zubaida Umar, highlights the local government areas that will be affected and calls on relevant stakeholders to support NEMA in the initiative of downscaling flood early warning and mitigation messages to the grassroots. While the Deputy Governor, Dr. Onyeka Ibezim, who represented Governor Chukwuma Soludo, discloses the short, mid and long-term plans of the state government towards controlling and bringing a permanent solution to flood disaster in the state.
It's flood season and the residents of Ngozika Estate in Awka, Anambra State are already helpless as their streets and homes are once again flooded. It's a yearly occurrence in this area, a problem they attribute to human activities, as some developers have blocked flood channels with structures and have continued to cause untold devastation in their state.
Over the years, we've been pleading with the state government to help us resolve the issue of flooding that affects us. It's been a perennial issue, and it is a man-made issue. It's not that it's a natural issue. It's man-made. There's a canal that passed through our estate, separating Ngozika Phase 1 and Phase 2. And the Iyago canal that was not completed. So all the flood coming through the 2 canals deposits itself into the estates, coupled with the blockages of the canal, So we've been pleading with the state government to help us tackle this issue.
Every year, we'll see our fence collapse. We'll see our houses, rooms filled with water. Even cars parked in the compound, they are being submerged. We have a channel that carries this water down to the river. But people encroach on the channel and blocked part of the channel.
As a result of this, the Anambra State government, in collaboration with the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has flagged off the 2024 early warning sensitization campaign on flooding in Awka, the Anambra State capital. Over the years, flood has continued to wreak havoc on the people of Anambra State in various local government areas, while some are caused by environmental recklessness, others are due to proximity to riverine locations.
People should stop building on water channels, and water planes and across water channels. Move to higher ground before the flood becomes neck deep. If cut off from designated point, climb and stay on a tree or higher platform. It is dangerous to wade or swim in flood waters due to suspect logs, stones, and presence of dangerous reptiles. Do not drive in flood water because you can float and be carried away. Step out immediately and search for a higher ground.
While commending the state government for its proactive measures being embarked upon to tackle flood issues, the Director General of NEMA notes that disaster management is everyone's business and seeks everyone's support to ensure that these early warning messages get to the grassroots.
I call on the state and local governments, traditional institutions, faith-based organizations, public and private institutions, and relevant stakeholders to support NEMA in this initiative of downscaling flood early warning and mitigation messages to the grassroots, to support measures that will avert the negative impacts of the flood during the 2024 rainy season.
Flagging off the campaign on behalf of Governor Chukwuma Soludo, his deputy Onyeka Chukwuibezim notes the effort of the state government in providing succor to residents of the communities affected by flooding yearly.
The short-term plans are what we are doing now, which may simply be described in one swoop as emergency services. In the midterm plans, emergency services plus some infrastructural interventions vis-a-vis building of embankments, even expanding our big gutters, keeping them clean all the time. This cuts across the first term plan and the second term plan.
Part of the sensitization includes discussion and risk communication strategies to avoid casualties and preventable damages to properties.
In Abia State, the government has constituted a 9-man committee to investigate the causes of building collapse in Obingwe community, Ukwa West local government area of the state, and Osusu area of Abia, to arrest the ugly development. Speaking shortly after inaugurating the committee at the State Secretariat in Umuahia, the Commissioner for Lands and Housing, Chaka Chukwumerije, says Governor Oti is deeply concerned about the collapse of building under construction where 5 people died. He says the panel will review the state's building control practice, while there will be an extension of recertification of all land title documents from June till August 30th, 2024.
We're reviewing our building control practice in Abia, and based on the building control practice we had in Abia as relates to the buildings that have collapsed, specifically Obingwu in Ukwa West, in which we unfortunately lost 5 lives. What went wrong? Who didn't do his job? This is part of the review and panel of inquiry, and there will be consequences in terms of people being held responsible. Furthermore, How can we improve on our building control practice in Abia? And in that instance, part of the terms of reference of the building control of the panel that has been approved by His Excellency is to look at the practices in other states, the standards, and even go out of the country, so that we improve our standards in terms of our building control practice. This announcement serves to extend the date of submission of all title documents from June 17, when it ended, to August 31, 2024. There were a lot of complaints about the shortness of the notice, and in response to those complaints, we thought it was fair and considerate to extend the submission period to end of August to afford more Abians the opportunity to submit their title documents.
Over in Imo State, following the recent Supreme Court judgment affirming financial autonomy and independence of the 774 local governments in Nigeria, members of the Nigeria Union of Local Government Employees in Imo State has lauded President Bola Tinubu and the Supreme Court for backing the independence of the local government in Nigeria. The members of the union disclosed this during a solidarity rally organized in Owerri, the Imo State capital. The union members, carrying placards with various inscriptions, say financial autonomy and independence of the local government will no doubt enhance and ensure a better welfare for local government workers and, by extension, develop the rural areas in the country.
Nigeria Union of Local Government Employees, especially all of us at the Imo State chapter, that we are solidly behind the President and the Supreme Court for liberating the local government councils from the strongholds of the higher tiers of government. The welfare of workers this time and going forward can be better imagined than described. Our members will now have opportunity to discuss their own welfare and implement their own welfare. In our resolve, we are promised to be loyal to the government of Imo State and to the government of Federal Republic of Nigeria. We shall reciprocate this gesture by being more productive and by being a tool through which the policies of government shall reach the grassroots. The benefits of the autonomy is increased welfare to the local communities, participation of the local people in their own governance. The rate of insecurity will be minimized. Hunger and poverty will become a thing of the past.
Still in Imo State, the police command says it will continue to partner with relevant stakeholders to ensure crime prevention in the state. The Imo State Public Relations Officer Henry Okoye disclosed this at a meeting with some civil society organizations at the State Command in Owerri, the Imo State capital. According to him, a robust partnership with the relevant stakeholders will help in getting relevant and useful information about crime in the different localities in the state. Meanwhile, some of the representatives of some civil society groups present says there's need to institutionalize various police reforms for more effective and community-oriented service, which will aid crime prevention and enhance peaceful society. And on that note, we close here at Newsroom. I'm Dominic Iwiwu. Stay safe.